Kynria, huh? You sure know a lot. The legacy of Kynria is long gone. The sinners are all that's left, and they're not worth mentioning.
Welcome back to another Genshin Impact guide. Today we are going to build a chef from Liyue. She was released in 2020, but even to this day people still use her in Abyss. That speaks volumes about her. Today we are going to build Xiangling. She is one of the great pyro support and DPS that game has to offer. Let's talk about her kit. The most important talent in her kit is her elemental burst. That is the main source of her damage. So that's what you need to level up first. Her elemental burst damage depends on her maximum attack and overall crit value. The great thing about her elemental burst is that you can use it off field. She doesn't need to be on the field when her elemental burst is going on. Her element burst duration is 10 seconds and it takes 20 seconds to cool down. That leaves us with a gap of 10 seconds, but we can shorten that time. I will explain later in this video that how we can do it. Her elemental burst needs 80 energy, which is kind of a lot, but don't worry, I will show you how to manage it. The next thing you need to level up is her element skill. It is really important because the main source of recharging her elemental burst is none other than her elemental skill, and its damage also depends on her maximum attack and overall crit value. Guoba will stay on field for 7 seconds and the cooldown is 12 seconds, which is pretty normal for elemental skill. You should level up her normal attacks to at least 6, but if you are planning to use her as main DPS, then you should level it up to 8. Her first passive skill increase the range of her elemental skill. Guoba's flame range will be increased by 20%. Her second passive is good. When Guoba leaves the field, he will leave a chili pepper behind. If you pick it up, your attack will increase by 10% for 10 seconds. So this is how it works. Her last passive gives a 12% chance to receive double the product, but only on the dishes which buffs your attack. So the next time you are going to cook attack related dish, you should use Xiangling. Now let's move to her constellations. Her C1 is very simple. When opponents get hit by Guoba's flame, their pyro resistance is reduced by 15%. For 6 seconds. Guoba attacks 4 times when he is on the field, and the gap is only of 5 seconds on elemental skill. So if we are fighting single enemy, then this effect can stay on them till they are dead. Her C2 works with her normal attacks. When her last attack hits enemy, it will leave implode status on them, which will stay for 2 seconds, then it will explode. It will deal AoE pyro damage, and the damage will be 75% of her maximum attack. Of course, if you miss the last hit, it will not work. This is how it works. Her C3 will increase her element burst talent level by 3, which is very important because that's her main source of damage. Her C4 will increase her elemental burst duration by 40%. This is what I meant when I said we can reduce cooldown on her elemental burst. This is how much of a difference it makes. Her C5 will increase her elemental skills talent level by 3. Her C6 will give everyone in your party 15% pyro damage bonus when you use her elemental burst. It doesn't matter what element type they are, they will receive 15% pyro damage bonus. This is how it works. Other than our chef, no one has pyro damage bonus at the moment. If we check it now, everyone will have 15% pyro damage bonus. Of course, Xiangling as well. This is how her C6 works. Now let's talk about artifacts and weapons. Every weapon and artifact have different buff and passive skills. Let's say you have good artifact set. But if your weapon can take advantage of that, then it's like you are only using 50% of your max damage. It is very important to know which weapons works with your artifact set. This is the first set that we are going to use, the emblem set. More than 50% players use this artifact set on her, and we are using Black Cliff Pole, which gives us 55% crit damage. To get the maximum effect from this set, we need to use energy recharge for sands. This is going to be a solo showcase for now, that way we will know how her kit actually works. The maximum damage we are getting from her elemental burst is 6200, which is not bad. But with this weapon, here comes the problem. Her elemental burst is taking too long to get full. Of course, in open world it doesn't mean much, but in Abyss it will annoy you more than you think. I will show you how to solve this problem later in this video. Now we are going to use attack sands with emblem set. I'm trying to get the same or similar amount of crit value for this. That way we will know the real difference between attack and ER sands. With attack sands we have more attack but less ER. Energy recharge is really important for emblem set. Her elemental burst is doing 7500 now, even though we almost have the same crit value with same artifact set. In simple words, her kit buff overpowers artifact set buffs, which is to be expected, but there are a lot of other things that you need to understand, like if you have more energy charge or attack value in your artifact sub stats, then it doesn't matter what sense you are using, you will really get good damage. And now I'm using energy charge sense here to get the most out of our emblem set. We have very low crit value compared to the last two combination, but now we have 230% energy recharge, which is a lot. Of course now she will have a hard time with crit, even though this weapon gives more crit value for elemental burst. But when her elemental burst is doing crit, the damage is 6000, which is only 200 less than the first combination, and there is 55% less crit damage now. And there is also one more big difference here, which is that her elemental skill is generating more energy with the same amount of attacks. Because of that, her elemental burst is getting full faster. The next weapon I'm using is Engulfing Lightning. This weapon's passive is really good for emblem set, and her elemental burst is doing 7900 damage now with same crit value. And not to mention, the first combination of set and weapon had more crit value. This is why crit value doesn't matter all the time. With this combination you can use her as DPS or support. And now we are going to use Crimson Artifact set. This artifact set works very differently than emblem set, and this set is made specially for pyro DPS characters. With this set you can use weapons that gives crit value. There are a lot of weapons in the game that have crit value as substats, like Black Cliff Pole, Deathmatch, Staff of Homa, and many more. If you don't have any of those weapons, you can also use this 3-star weapon since it gives crit rate as substats. On Crimson set, what we need is crit value, attack, and at least 100 elemental mastery. So now the maximum damage is 8700, which is a lot because this is pure raw pyro damage. With Crimson set, you need one more pyro character in your team for generating more pyro particles for Xiangling, because with DPS build the energy recharge problem gets real, but that is nothing new. It's the same with every DPS in the game. This is the best artifact set for her as main DPS that can carry your team in a piece. So now I will show you her damage with one teammate. I'm going to use Young Master of Guoba clan. Here Xiangling has 72 elemental mastery and Xingqiu got only 44, which is kind of low, but this is how much of a gap it makes for Xiangling. Now her elemental burst is doing 17,500 damage. For solo it was only 8700. With just one hydro support, her damage increased more than 100%. But since we are only using one support and it's not pyro, so it's hard for her elemental burst to get full on. The same time with Xingqiu's elemental burst. Now I will show you guys something that you should know. I will give both of them EM cents for more elemental mastery. In many team combinations, elemental mastery will increase your maximum damage. That is what most of the players think about elemental mastery. As you can see, the damage is still not going up. The reason for that is very simple. Both of these characters' damage comes from maximum attack. It doesn't come from elemental mastery. The more EM will not give you more damage unless character's maximum damage comes from EM like Al Hatham. So for Xiangling, if you have 100 elemental mastery for her, that would be enough for her as main DPS. Her damage comes from her maximum attack and crit value. There is only one last combination we have left for her as main DPS, which is 2 pieces of crimson for pyro damage bonus and 2 pieces of set which gives us attack bonus. There are a lot of artifact set that gives us attack bonus, so use the one which have more crit value. I'm trying to use similar crit value for this showcase. Only value here increasing or decreasing is attack and of course some normal value like HP or defense. Now her elemental burst is doing 8700, which is pretty much same as the full crimson set, but it's little higher. That's because we have more attack than before. Now here comes the question, how much damage will she do with Xingqiu? The damage has gone up from 8700 to 15,000, but it's not good as full crimson set. That is because 4 pieces of crimson set increase your vaporized damage by 15%. So overall for DPS, you should go with crimson set. If you don't have it, for time being you can use this 2-piece combination, and for support you should use emblem set. That is the best set for her as support unit. You can also use noblesse set, but if there's another character in your party who is using noblesse, then it is pretty much meaningless to use 2 noblesse set in the same party. That's because that set's passive doesn't stack. Now let's move to the next part of this video. Let's talk about team combination for her. To get reaction from Pyro, you don't really need much, but for Xiangling that's not the case since she can be used in every team possible. First I will show you guys DPS team. If you don't have Farina, you can use Mona, Ayato, Kokomi, Barbara, any character that can apply Hydro while staying off field. I will not use any 5-star weapon here because not everyone has it, but everyone can get this weapon from shop. This is why I'm using Blackleaf. Her damage was going up with every attack and it went to 25,000, which is a lot of damage. This team works in Abyss as well, see for yourself. It took me like 100 seconds to clear it because her elemental burst wasn't getting full quickly, even with full team. But nonetheless, it was great fight because we are using only one 5-star character and none of them has 5-star weapon. Now I'm using emblem set on her with Favonius Lance. With this, her elemental burst will always be full like her teammate. How much of a difference it makes, see for yourself. This is working better than DPS Xiangling because in Abyss what you need is not some extra damage but the damage that keeps on coming. This whole team depends on their elemental skill and burst. So if one of those is not there, the damage will stop. Then it doesn't matter who your main DPS is, it will take more time. Here the same team only took 76 seconds and in Abyss every seconds count. You know that very well if you are doing Abyss every month. She can work with every DPS since her elemental skill and burst can deal off-field damage. So for teams, it depends on what you have. For Anemo DPS, you can use Hazo as your main DPS or Sucrose since Sucrose can increase your team's overall damage. But if you have Kazuha, then he is the first choice because not only he will increase your team's overall damage, but he can also control crowd with his elemental skill. For Cryo, you can use any DPS that can apply Cryo off-field for a long time like Rosaria. Just the melt reaction gets more damage than vaporize reaction. constellation. And for Electro, you have lot of main DPS characters, but most of them are 5 stars, so it's not easy to get them. But we also have good 4-star DPS character for Electro. First is Facial, she is really great DPS. Then you can use Lisa, Razor or Bedo. It just depends on what you have in your account. You can use Xiangling as main DPS or sub DPS or support unit. She will work with almost every team you have. This is why people are still using her even to this day, because she is that good. If you have her, you should build her. So this is it for today. If you liked the video, make sure to subscribe. You can also comment if you want me to make guide on your favorite character. So thank you for watching. See you guys in next video.